Yo.
My name's Izzy. I am a game developer and a musician, and I did video producing for a while, and I write sometimes. And I do a lot of different stuff, but I haven't done comedy yet, so I was like, gotta add to the list, add to the resume. And I think I've been funny my whole life, but usually I don't have a stage and a microphone, so people don't know when to laugh at me. So here's my opportunity to find out. Now, as a safety net, because I haven't done this before, if a joke doesn't go over well, or maybe you just don't laugh because you just missed the joke entirely because I'm just so clever that it just goes right over your head, I'm just gonna look out from the distance and be like, makes you think. And I'll just pretend like I said something really, smart and important, clever. So we'll see how it goes. I started transitioning about 7 months ago. That's when I started hormones. About 10 years before that, I kind of learned what transgender even was, and kind of had a dialogue about that, and kind of came away from it. If I think about going back to myself 10 years ago and be like, hey, you're gonna be on stage someday doing comedy, I'd be like, are you fucking kidding me? No fucking way. And then I'd be like, and also you're a girl, and I'd be like, oh, that makes sense, yeah. Makes you think. So transitioning has its ups and downs. I'm doing pretty good today. Last couple of weeks I've been kind of up. Some days I'm really good. Some days I'm kind of I don't feel so great. Kind of when I go out, I tend to, I guess in the last month or so, I've been more feeling good about presenting and going out in femme clothes. Before that, I wasn't out in all different places in my life, so I'm kind of okay, I'm just in boy mode today. I'm just wearing my normal, my old boy clothes and feel okay with that. I don't have a ton of dysphoria, so I don't feel bad about that especially, but I do feel a lot more comfortable like this. One time I was out with my mom and my grandma getting dinner, and the waitress comes up and she misgenders me, I think. So I'm looking like a boy, I'm presenting masculine, and she walks up to the table, which is me and my grandmother and my mom, and she says, how's it going, ladies? And I'm like, yes. Nailed it. Didn't even have to try. Fuck yeah. And then of course she pauses and catches herself, right? Hey guys. It makes you think, huh? So that was a pretty good day. It was pretty funny. She was 2/3 right the first time. I don't know why she had to change it. Or completely right if she knew, but she didn't know. It's okay, she didn't know. So then I had another day where I was at home and I'm I'm hungry, but I feel like shit. I don't want to cook anything. I just want to lie around, and I want to feel bad about myself. And I felt like trash, and I wanted to eat like trash too. So I'm man, I could go for some Taco Bell. But that's outside the house. I'm in the house. How do I get that and maintain this just garbage feeling? So I'm wearing a dress at this point. I usually try to present femme when I'm at home because I helps me I feel good. I just feel good, and then I'm also I'm adjusting, right? More practice, I guess. And I'm okay, so here's the compromise I'm gonna make with myself. I'm going to go to Taco Bell. I'm going to get food at Taco Bell. I'm gonna be a trash person, that's fine. But I'm not gonna change clothes. I'm not gonna dress up as boy clothes. I'm gonna You leave the dress on, I'll be fine with that. Not gonna go inside Taco Bell, no fucking way, I'm gonna go through the drive-thru. If I was feeling good that day, if I was feeling like I'm feeling tonight, I feel great tonight. Thank you. If I was feeling like I was feeling tonight, I would just walk in Taco Bell right through the front, and I'd go to the counter, and I'd just hold my hands out, both hands out, and just be like, just fuck me up. The beef, the beans, the cheese, the tortilla, that order, I don't care. Just put in my hands, I'll go in the same place anyway. But this day I was not feeling that great. So I was like, okay, let's compromise, I'll still go out. I'll still have to be outside. I'll have to, my neighbor might see me. I might have to obviously I have to interact with the drive-thru person, but I'm I'm wearing a hoodie and I'm totally not, even my little bravery is only going so far. So I go to the drive-thru and everything's fine. I give him the credit card and then he hands card back to me and drops it right on the ground. So I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have to get out of my car and pick that up. So I pull up a little bit, I get out of my car, my dress blowing in the wind, drive-thru man sees me, the people behind me see me, I'm like, and I sped off, I'm like, fuck. I wonder if anybody saw me. So transitioning is weird. It's kind of like going through puberty a second time. And it turns out, that sounds kind of like a bad thing maybe, but it's actually pretty cool because I've already done it once and I kind of know all the cheat code. So I can have a lot of fun and I'm not fucking up like those dumb teens. I'm thinking about it one day and I'm like, man, it's all these changes in my body and I got braces and I'm dating a cute boy and he invited me to emo prom and I'm like, holy shit, I'm really doing this teen thing hard, huh? Damn. Emo prom was fun. It was kind of like my original prom, my first puberty prom. But they just played the music that I was listening to in my headphones in the speakers. I was just sitting in the corner for that one, just kind of so I want to talk about my titties a little bit.
Do it!
So they're developing. And what comes with that, I've learned, is that they hurt a lot. They hurt all the time. I've already bumped them on stage a couple times, so as I've been up here, and okay, those are there. I always forget that they're there. They're this new. I haven't had to deal with these for 20 whatever years. I'm not gonna be even my actual age. And I'm like, man, there's these new things kind of sticking out, and it's I'm always running and stuff. I'm going through a doorway and I just run a door frame tip first. It's why do I enter every room tip first? I probably shouldn't do that. I should probably walk backward or something. I don't know. It's a real problem. It hurts every time. Opening my car door, bam. Okay, that's all right. I get a hug from someone that I love, and I love you, but you're hurting. We really do hurt the ones we love. Makes you think. So one day I was okay, I need to get out, kind of my Taco Bell run. I just need to have a little test run. This is maybe even earlier than Taco Bell run, maybe a couple weeks earlier, where I'm okay, I'm nervous about presenting in public. I need to get out. I just need to get some exposure. So I'm I'm gonna go to the mall. why I wanted to go to the mall. I'm not really sure. I was just kind of drawn to it. I think it's just like a weird teen thing. It's like, that's where they live. I want to go there. I want to be amongst my people. So I went to the mall, definitely because of the weird teen energy, and not because I had a coupon for pretzel maker. It was just a nice bonus. Went to the mall and I parked kind of like in the far side by like the movie theater and the Target. And I walked through the mall, through all the way through the mall. And I got to the other side and the pretzel maker just happened to be there, and I'm like, well, why not? You did good. You like walked through the whole place and you like didn't get nervous or like freak out. It's great. Have a pretzel. You have a coupon. It's fine. And as I'm walking through, I saw like Old Navy had like a sale on like tank tops and like shorts and stuff like that. I'm like, hey, I wear those. I wear clothes too. Makes you think. And I'm like, all right, I'll get, like, at this point I hadn't gone shopping by myself before, so I'm like, ooh, I don't know if I can do this. Like, yes, it's on sale, but also I haven't been alone in like looking at women's clothes before, so I'm like, oh, I don't know how I feel about this. This is nerve-wracking. I don't know if I can do this by myself. And then I'm like, no. You saved so much money with that coupon. You had to do it. You're full of pretzel right now. You can do anything. So I went in that Old Navy.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I'm here for the I didn't like shout that when I walked in. That'd be weird, wouldn't it? I'm here for discounts. I'm here for the shorts. Where are the shorts? No, I walked in very, very bravely with a lot of direction. I knew exactly where I was going. I walked right in, and I walked straight to the men's section. And I'm like picking up like some like nice like camo jorts. And I'm like, yeah, I love these. I could see myself in these. These pockets are so big. I could hold so many like bullets in them. And I'm just kind of like, just kind of like half-heartedly like, oh yeah, this, I don't like any of it. It's all terrible. And then I'm like, finally, okay, I just need to like kind of like slowly like shift over to the women's side of the store, which is like very, very separated. It's like there's a big line, like where. Okay. So it's like I know I'm like in new territory now, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna like sneak around. I'm just gonna like hide behind some shelves. I'm gonna like duck into like a clothing rack, like I was when I was like 8 shopping my mom. I just hide in clothing racks. And I just be like, okay, pop my head out. I see anybody? Okay, just grab all the stuff. I'll just dump it into my arms. Just grab like a bunch of stuff, and then I like went to the dressing room. Just like, I don't know, like 20 or 30 fucking clothing items, just like having trouble carrying it all because my arms are getting weak from the hormones. I made it there and without much opposition, and I tried a bunch of stuff on, and I like was like, okay, and I walked out with like one thing that fit me. I was like, oh, it's cute, I like this. I walked to the counter, and at this point, like my like energy is like the pretzel energy is wearing out. I'm fading fast. I'm like, oh god, I need to get the fuck out of here. I'm like so, like my like anxiety is like building up. I'm like at my limit. I used to have like a lot of anxiety problems, and that's tapered down a lot, but it still takes a lot of energy, I think, to like get up and be presenting feminine and like be like, I'm visible, but for the most part I feel like more positive as I'm like growing and getting used to it, so it's Thank you. So I get up to the counter and I'm like, okay, I'm in line. There's There's a line for one thing. Fuck that. I'm like holding the stuff that like is very obviously like people know what this is or what it looks like, and I'm like, I just want to like take it and go. I just steal it. That probably worse. And I'm waiting for this person at the counter. She's upset because like I don't know, like her coupon didn't work or something. She's like giving the clerk a hard time. Like they don't have enough people, and I'm like, pretzel maker don't have problems with coupons. She's called a pretzel maker. But eventually, you know, she gets through it and figures it out, and I get through, and I like have like a, you know, like, okay, here's my thing, just like check me out, just like let me go. And they're like, you want the Old Navy credit card? And I'm like, no, I don't think so. Don't make me make decisions right now. I'm really anxious and I want to leave. But eventually I got out and I survived and I'm here now. And even though like that was hard at points, like, you know, when I ran out of pretzel energy, that was really rough. But all in all, I'm really glad that I went out to the mall that night because in the end, I had more content for this show. Yeah, I think that's about it for me. I just want to thank everybody for like humoring me, I guess. I guess I did that to you as well, hopefully. But it's like I said, it's been kind of a journey, and I'm getting better all the time about being able to be out and like take up spaces, like queer spaces. Like especially for a long time, I always felt like I belonged in some way, but couldn't really quite put my finger on it. It's like I look back now and I'm like, oh yeah, that time that I wore my friend's bra. Yeah, that makes a lot more sense now. Like, oh, the time that my friend gave me like her poodle skirt from the play she did at school, and I wore that, and I'm like, yeah, I like this. And I'm like, oh, it's all clicking now. Like, there's a lot of things that click now. But even despite those things, like I didn't think anything of at the time. It was always hard because like I'm just like a straight cis white dude, and I'm like I don't fit in any of these spaces, even though I feel like I want to be friends with these people. So it's always hard for me to like get up and be like at an event called Queertopia and feel like I belong. But you know, I'm getting better at like I'm on a good day. I'm like, hey, I can take up some space. That's fine. I have a big ego, and I like people clapping and laughing at me. And the other days it's like, why would she let me be on the stage? It's so big. I know, like I'm taking up too much space today. This is like a lot of fucking space. Look how far back this goes. Okay, well that's all for me. Thank you.